This is a Tape Deck podcast.
Hello and welcome back to Inside the Runner Studio. This is your host Tom, and with me as always are Aaron, Michael, and Diana.
Hello.
Hello.
And we are joined by our friend Jeremy. Hey Jeremy, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Good.
Pretty
Can't
good.
complain.
I mean,
Pretty good.
I was going to say can't complain, but I have a lot to complain about.
It's fair.
I mean, you
That's about
definitely
right.
can complain.
Like, if it's one thing we can do, it's complain.
We're good at it.
Yeah. All right. So Jeremy, you know the drill. We're going to ask you some running related questions, some non-running related questions, and get to know you. But before we do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Jeremy from North Carolina. I live right outside of Winston-Salem. I am a full-time theater arts teacher. So I've been doing that for 20 years now, but I also teach online for community colleges. I teach theater appreciation and storytelling for those. And I'm also a travel advisor because, why not throw some other things into the mix? And, I also, for the summer, because I can't sit still, I decided to be a summer custodian at school because they were looking for somebody. So I literally don't sit still.
Oh my
I
gosh.
work all the time.
That's
Oh my
amazing.
gosh.
All right. Two follow-up questions. Who is your college basketball team?
So I went to Appalachian State University. But I'm not a big sports person.
Okay.
So I'll go with the school that I went to, which is Appalachian. But I also, when I was younger, I would say UNC Chapel Hill was probably who I would root for the most.
Okay.
I feel like that's
understand
where
my
Tom was
athletics.
going.
No, it's fine. It's just that area is very,
Yeah, it's known
very
for it,
collegiately divided
Yes.
along basketball
Yes.
lines.
He's also Maryland,
Very much.
so he wanted to know if you were a Duke fan, if
No,
he needed
you
to
know what?
take out the enemy.
Not at all.
Never had. My brother is. So when we were younger, we just had fun with the Chapel Hill Duke thing. And mostly that was because I wanted to go to Chapel Hill, but chose not to go based off of what I decided to major in.
Second question. Are you familiar with the Angus Barn?
Actually, yes. I've eaten
Oh
there
my
once. I have gone to the Angus Barn one single time.
The world famous Angus Barn.
Are you close to that area?
How far is Winston-Salem from there?
We're
That's a
about an
ways.
hour and 20 minutes from the
Okay.
Angus Barn.
From Raleigh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Raleigh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
My friend lives down the street from Angus
Yes,
Barn.
like literally
And
a
they
few
go
blocks
there.
away.
They go there for like every big event.
Every
And weirdly,
celebration.
Tom ended up there one time.
I think a couple of times because one of his
I've-
vendors
Yeah,
like
you
right
go
there.
for like
I've been
the
twice.
at Christmas time, right?
Yeah.
You always
See,
end up
that's when
there
I
around
wanted to go was Christmas. And unfortunately, we were there at the beginning of summer. It was not really cool decorations or anything like that.
See,
But, I mean, it was a
yeah.
great place, but still.
Your friend
I wanted
Colleen
Christmas.
goes like for
Oh.
their anniversary, for their
Christmas,
first date
for-
anniversary,
yeah. Oh,
for
yeah,
their
yeah.
like because they still celebrate their first date anniversary.
Shout
There are
out,
those
Colleen.
people. There are those
Awesome.
people. Colleen's
A lot
never
of
gonna
people
listen
go
to
and love
this.
it.
I've never been. I've driven past. many
Yeah,
times.
we always joke around about going, but we never end up going because I don't know.
Gonna have to go to
I mean,
Angus
it's
Barn.
worth
We are
it
gonna
if
have
you
to.
want a nice long dinner where there's all kinds of different
I
things.
love
I mean,
steak.
just steak is great.
I'm a big steak fan.
I'm not a big steak eater, so I think I had fish, which everybody laughed at me. But I mean, that's what I do. I mean, even on the
Hey.
cruise
Same.
ship, like everybody's ordering steak. I'm like, could I get the salmon, please?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
me.
that's I think why we haven't been though is because you're not a steakhouse kind of
same.
guy.
I'm not a steak person either, generally.
So-
Well, if you like oysters, their oysters were really good. I did have that, and
The-
shrimp was
okay.
good.
The place
Awesome.
is just ridiculous. Like, it's just
Yes.
very interesting to see. It's like,
Yes.
That's why I want to go,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah,
But-
yeah.
anyway.
Next time we're down there. Yeah, off the rails, Tom.
We're going to have to get some royalties from Angus Barn.
I can't believe you said all that stuff about theater appreciation and all that, and you didn't ask
And we're
me
stuck on Angus
anything
Barn?
about that. It's like the Angus Bar and basketball. I was like,
I
why
thought
were
he was
those
going
the
to
follow-up
ask.
questions?
Yes, I thought your follow-up questions are going to have to do with the musical theater.
Yeah, I
But
figured that,
you
I'm
went a
sitting next to
completely different
Diana,
direction.
and I'm the one that's going to ask about musical theater.
I still thought that you were going to go a totally different direction, but we should have known better because
I'm
feel
six
like
foot six tall, so I get asked about basketball all the time, and it disappoints
go.
people when I answer I don't really like sports.
Wait, I'm
That's
sorry. How tall
great.
are you?
I am 6'6".
Whew.
I would have, you know how on the internet, like you see pictures of people and you like envision them one way or another. Like I didn't like envision you. Like I've met people and I've been like, oh my gosh, you're much shorter than I expected. I feel like this is the opposite. In my head, when I see your pictures, I think of you as a short, like a Michael height person.
No,
Average.
I just don't take pictures beside people. If you do, like if you ever see one with my family, I mean, my son is getting taller, but like for a while it's like me towering and then they're like shoulder height with me. It's the same everywhere else. I hate being in pictures. And when they're always like, hey, the tallest people go to the back, I'm like, I'll see y'all back there.
Yeah, I'll be in back.
I
Yeah.
head straight on back.
That's funny. I don't know why, like in my, do you just have like that vision of people sometimes?
Well, without context, you
Yes,
don't have
yeah.
clues. Yeah.
I am 6'6", so I get the sports question all the time and all kinds of, hey, what's it like being tall? I'm like, it sucks. What's it like being short? Right? Like,
I mean, I guess
find
that's like
clothes.
in this. Now I'm on your Instagram. This
That's
picture
fine.
right here with the castle, like your wife looks like she's like almost to your glasses, but you must be like crouching down.
Are you holding
I
something
do
up
a
that we're
lot.
supposed to see?
No, I'm just saying
Okay.
that I'm looking because now I'm stalking you. Apparently, welcome to the Will Run For podcast.
There you go.
Again, all right. Perfectly fine.
All right, I think we're going to jump into the questions. And Diana has our first running related question.
Yes, absolutely. So our first running related question is about when you like to run. Are you a morning, midday, or evening runner?
I 100% prefer to run in the morning. However, because I teach, I am 100% against getting up at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. and running.
Yeah.
So I end up running more in the afternoon, but on the weekends, it's generally morning, not early morning, but like 7-ish. So like
That's
when
fine,
everybody
yeah.
else is finishing their runs, 7, 7:30, 8, somewhere in there, I might start a run. If it's a longer run, I may start earlier, but generally I prefer mornings, but I do end up in the afternoon way more than I would like to admit,
like Michael.
especially here in the South.
Yeah. No, I'm in the same boat. I get up at 5 anyway, so I'm not getting up earlier to run. And on the weekend, even if I get up early, I'm like, well, I'll get out the door, and it's like 7:30. I'm like, enjoy that piece of the morning a bit.
I spent 3 years working at a school where I got up at 5 a.m. to get to work. And after that, I was like, never again. Now it's 6 a.m. And unless I'm going to Disney, like that, traveling, Disney, cruise, driving, whatever, running at Disney, sure, before 5 a.m. After that, anything else, probably not going to happen for me.
Not going to happen. Yeah, that's fair.
Nope.
That's fair.
All right. When you see another runner coming towards you, what do you do?
So I generally will kind of give like the half wave and say good morning or good afternoon, depending on which part of the day it is. But if I've been running for a while and I look like I'm dying, it definitely is the half wave and the please don't look at me because I look like I'm half dying.
Yeah,
that's fair.
And again, I'm 6'6", so me barreling towards people, sometimes I know that I look intimidating, so I try to smile because I don't really smile all that much while running. And so I try to smile and look friendly because I'm taller and bigger than most people. So I try to be friendly. I'm not a ignore people while running because I don't want them to think anything bad. And then I worry about it because I'm a worrier. So I'll worry about if I looked intimidating or mean or whatever.
Yeah. Because every man looks intimidating to me when I'm running. Because all women at some point in their lives think that every man is going to attack them in some way. So your tallness probably does not help that.
Yeah. And I live in the country too. So like if I do pass another runner on the road, like that's also super awkward because you're out in the country and you're like, hey, you run, I'm running. But like we shouldn't be passing each other because there's a lot of roads around here. Like, so sometimes it's awkward just because you see somebody else and you're like, I don't know what to do. I'm not used to seeing people. Cool. Good to see you too. You want to run sometime?
That's awesome. Oh gosh. What is your preferred race distance and why?
So I enjoy a 10K because I feel like it's worth running, like getting all sweaty and changing and doing all that. I'm not super fast, but I do feel like a 5K goes by too fast. And even though I trained for half marathons, somehow I still towards the end of them, I'm like, why am I doing this? This is stupid. And then I finished. I'm like, oh, that was great, and I enjoyed it. But a 10K, like I generally am happy from beginning to end of it. It's a good distance, and I mean, it's just for me, I think more fun. So I can live in that 6.2 miles. Anything more, kind of miserable. Anything less, I'm like, why was it even worth it?
Why was I there? Yeah. Very fair.
Yeah. Nice.
I really appreciated that synopsis. Do you prefer winter running or summer running?
Ooh, in the South,
100% winter. Winter. Now, I don't winter like y'all do because I live in North Carolina. So, I mean, like, our coldest is 23 and breezy. And so it's not horrible, but I do prefer winter running. Right now, it's the summer, and I probably can count on my one hand how many times I've run this summer.
Yeah.
Because I don't like running in the heat.
Yeah.
So I'm not a fan.
What is your temperature sweet spot?
I would honestly say if it were between 50 and 60 and cloudy, that to me is perfect because I could run in shorts or I could run in a jacket or I could not run in a jacket. So, I mean, you can kind of pick and choose how you dress and where you want to run. So I like running in that kind of temperature.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, that's good. And then, I always like this question. If you had to run a race that was all uphill or all downhill, which would you choose?
I tend to enjoy, even though it's miserable, going uphill more than downhill. And I always blame it on being tall and chubby because I say I'm top heavy. So like, I feel like I'm going down. I feel like I'm in an awkward angle. Whereas leaning forward, going up, like I don't feel like I'm going to fall.
Correct.
We have a half marathon here that runs through the quarry. And so you run down to the bottom of the quarry and then you run the 1.5 miles up and continue going up. Going up, I'm like, oh, this is miserable, but I enjoy it. Coming down, I'm not a big fan. I usually will walk down or kind of trot down because I'm like, the last thing people need to see is me rolling down a hill.
Yeah.
Indy
has the zoomies.
So that's right.
What is that noise?
My dog is stalking me out the door.
Oh, is he? Your dog's stalking you.
I heard
she can open the door, so don't be surprised if she comes in.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, we all want to see your dog, so Well, maybe Michael
she would
doesn't,
literally be in my face because she's been gone all day and I've been gone all day. So she just got home.
Yeah.
She probably is laying somewhere right outside the door.
Just listening to you talk.
As soon as we're done recording, I want that door open.
Yeah.
I will, and I promise you, if I open the door, she probably will come in, unless she's outside with my son. Then she will not come in for anything. But if she's out there, she'll be right in here.
Yep.
All right, moving into the random questions. What is your favorite breakfast food?
So I love biscuits and gravy. I grew up in the South. I don't always sound like I'm from the South because, I went to school for theater, so they teach us not to sound like, hey, y'all, how's it going? Which is, I had a huge Southern accent, but I've always loved biscuits and gravy on bread, gravy on eggs. That is by far my favorite breakfast food, but it's got to be very specific brown, like homemade gravy. My dad makes the best. So I've always loved having that for breakfast. I don't eat it as much anymore because as an adult, I realize it's liquid bread on top of actual bread. So all you're eating for breakfast is bread.
There's a lot of bread, yeah.
Which there's nothing wrong with that. I love it, but I probably shouldn't eat it all the time.
Yeah.
Fair.
I learned you can't go running after eating biscuits and gravy.
Oh, I can't even imagine. You
I
just feel
cannot
it.
imagine.
Like it would literally weigh you down.
I'm going to try
Because the best way to make it is like in the bacon grease. Like you put
Oh
flour
my
in the
God.
bacon grease and like burn it so it's brown. So
God.
not only are you eting bread, but you're also eating bacon grease.
Yep.
I mean, that sounds amazing.
It does. Yeah.
It is. That's why it's my favorite breakfast food, and that's also why I was a chunky teenager, and I'm still a chunky adult because I like my foods.
That's it. If you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Is it appropriate to say beer?
Yes.
That's fair.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Because that would probably be what I would choose. But if it were not appropriate to say that, it probably would be Coke Zero.
Oh,
Nice.
What kind of beer?
Or money. I mean, definitely
money's a
money.
good one. You could buy both with money.
Yeah. So I'll just go back and say money so that I can buy the other two things.
There you go.
And a private island.
What kind of beer would you be getting for the rest of your life?
I really enjoy IPAs that are bitter and citrusy, but I also enjoy ambers and alt beers. So it'd be a hard choice because I can drink pretty much any of those at any time. But in the summer, I'm more IPA, and in the winter, I'm more ambers and other things.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right. Well, this is a kind of a interesting segue. If you won $1 million, what's the first thing you would do?
Oh, fair.
I 100 not buy beer and Coke Zero because I would buy DVC points to Disney. I would buy an annual pass, put enough aside to have annual pass, and then I'll go to Disney and buy my beer and my Coke Zero.
Love it.
And then when I ran out of money, I would really hope that somebody would give me another $1 million to spend at Disney.
Just spend again. Yeah, fair.
Truly, that would be my dream.
Yeah. Well, you're in good company.
I feel like Disney adults, you're talking to a bunch of Disney adults, so we understand.
Which I appreciate. And I feel unjudged by saying that.
Yep. All right. If you were a superhero, what would your superpower be?
So I ask my students this question. We do a question of the day. And mine is always fly because I love to travel and I would have the ability to go anywhere that I would want to go. But I also like to architecture and things like that. So seeing things from above the way you would never see them would be so interesting to me.
True.
Like it's cool to stand on the ground and see a castle, but I would love to see the layout from above. So flying would have two purposes: to travel, but also to see really cool things from above.
Okay,
See,
so
that's
I'm dumb.
interesting.
And where were we? We were in Disneyland or something, and we did California Adventure. No, we were in Disney World, and we did Soaring Over California.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, is this all in the same state? What is you, California?
Right?
I was just shocked.
It's a very big state.
I know it's a big state, but it celebrates every possible topography known to man.
Yeah, it's all in California.
Is amazing. That's why
Yes.
California gets to be so cool and gets to do whatever they want because they literally have everything.
Yeah,
Mountains,
but I like-
deserts, everything.
I really love that
Beaches.
answer though, because like I always say teleportation because then I could get to where I want to go really fast. But what's interesting is the flying thing. Then you're flying overhead and you get to see it all overhead. So yeah, I kind of like that idea.
Yeah. I like both destination and journey type things. So like really the getting there a lot of times is fun for me.
Yeah.
I mean, reference my theater degree, I make up stories about all kinds of stuff: people traveling, trees, houses.
Unless you're traveling for 31 hours because the internet went down.
Right. And then that would not be a pleasant time for anybody. And I would probably be out of stories that I'd make up in my head at that point. And I would be using, as we learned on our last cruise, there is non-Mickey language is what they call it. So non-Mickey language.
Very fair.
Right. Do you have a recurring dream or nightmare?
Ooh.
Definitely a nightmare as a teacher. And I know a lot of teachers have these. There's always the dream of the uncontrollable class. Like you're literally standing in front of them trying to teach or get them to be quiet or to do anything. And there's yelling and screaming and punching and like just nothing that you do stops it. And obviously as a teacher, like I realize very quickly in my educational career that I'm outnumbered in that classroom, like by a lot. Like sometimes there's 1 to 37, sometimes there's 1 to even 7. And I'm like, so that dream happens more frequently than any others. And I would definitely say it's a nightmare because as a teacher, that's not something that I would want or to experience. And I haven't experienced it, knock on wood. I hope I don't ever experienced something where I've completely lost control of my classroom.
Yeah. What grade do you teach?
I teach 9 through 12.
Okay.
So I have all grade levels. And I've only worked at schools where I'm the only theater teacher. So I do teach all levels of both the acting side and the technical side and the directing side and all of that stuff. So I do get all levels of students.
Well, then it's very appropriate that we head into the James Lipton Memorial questions.
Perfect segue.
Absolutely. I love him.
I used to watch that all the time.
Me too.
We get, what is your favorite word?
Probably awesome. I say awesome a lot, in agreement, and probably some of that comes from being awkward or introverted. I tell people there are two people, Mr. Peterson and Jeremy, are not the same person. Jeremy is very quiet and withdrawn. So I think awesome has become kind of my like you're doing a good job, or I understand what you're saying, but I don't necessarily want to interject. And generally, if you say awesome, people are like, oh, okay. And then they move on. So probably awesome is my favorite word.
Sounds good. And what is your least favorite word?
So I was mulling this one over. I don't think I have one that really annoys me, other than because I teach teenagers whatever the newest terminology is that they're using, because they use it all the time. And teaching theater, they write scripts. So as you can imagine, every third sentence in the script utilizes that word. And we have multiple groups. So sometimes I hear it used 10 different times in a script and in class throughout. So whatever, I don't know. There were so many this year that just kept appearing. And I'm like, can we use another word? Like anything. I don't care what it is. Like at this point, it can be non-Mickey language. Just use something else. So I don't have a specific word, just lots of words that are the buzzwords for kids.
Yeah, I feel like slang cycles so fast now.
Yes.
It's not like you get an entire year of slang. You get like 3 weeks of slang that then transitions and becomes new
and they
slang.
hyper focus on it too.
So
it's not even sometimes used in the right moment. It's just used the entire moment.
Yeah.
God, when you say that, I think back on myself in high school. I was insufferable.
Listen, I was a nerd, so I used no cool language, nothing. I just kind of chilled in a corner and did some shows.
Jeremy, what turns you on?
Ooh.
Probably intelligence, but not arrogance. So I like to talk to people who know what they're talking about, because I like to learn, but I don't like to have knowledge rubbed in my face. But definitely love intelligent people.
And what turns you off?
Probably arrogance, or being talked to like I'm an idiot. And that happens a lot being a theater teacher, because people assume that I was dumb, and I always have to go with, hey, I went to school to be a math major, so I just like theater more. I have a master's degree. Like I'm not an idiot, but I get talked to a lot of times like I'm an idiot because I teach an arts class.
Well, that's annoying.
Yeah.
Yes, very, very much so. And I live in a non-arts rich community, so even the whole opinion of the arts is very
makes it
low in comparison.
Different.
I mean, I love my community, I love my students, and we do have a nice support base, but a lot of times we are not looked at as valued members of a school.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Well, Jeremy, what sound or noise do you love?
I love the sound of rain on trees in the mountains, because there's that little breeze. You're surrounded by trees, and not a downpour, but like that nice dripping sound in the mountains. That absolutely, I went to school in Boone, and the mountains, that was like the absolute best thing. Open the window and just listen to that. Nothing can comfort me more than that sound. Maybe the ocean. Also.
So great. And then what sound or noise do you hate?
Chewing and lip smacking. They turn me into a whole different person. I cannot tolerate it at all.
It's the worst.
Yes.
All right. What is your favorite non-Mickey word?
So because of its versatility, I'm on team because you can use it with that, this, them, you, me,
That's true.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Everything.
But I generally,
Everything.
and sorry, Michael, you'll have to bleep it, but I put it into a sentence all the time. This shit. So I use both of those regularly. I also send F this poop emoji to my friends.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Follow-on question: do high
Yes.
schoolers cuss that much?
Absolutely.
Oh,
They do.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
surprisingly, because I have a potty mouth and I've been the potty mouth of my group at a lot of different schools, I'm not the one that slips up in front of students, and I use a lot of it on a regular basis. But my students use it all the time, and they just assume that hopefully they're not listening to this. They assume that I don't use foul language because I'm always like, no, put those words back in your mouth. You didn't say that. Those words don't come out of your mouth. Lock them up, whatever. They never hear me slip up. Even frustrated, I don't slip up.
Oh, good for you.
I'm definitely a potty mouth when it comes to it. But yes, kids, a lot.
So what profession?
Well, I said Mickey, non-Mickey words.
Oh,
so
non-Mickey.
May have thrown you off.
Sorry.
Mm.
Yes.
So maybe I threw you off.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I would love to be a cruise director on a Disney cruise.
Ooh,
because
that's
it
a great
manages
decision.
the entertainment and the adult entertainment and bingo, and like they get to just check on people and talk. And I'm not a talker unless I'm in that like role of being in front of people. And I feel like that would be a lot of fun. And you get to travel and see places. And so I think that would be an awesome job.
Well, if I've learned anything from the Love Boat, it's that if you work on a cruise ship, you will probably have sex with every passenger that comes on board, and possibly get married by the end of the cruise.
There you go.
So yeah, it's a interesting position, especially cruise director like Julie was. Yeah,
sounds like it. I don't feel like they put that in the job description though. So maybe I have to check into that.
You might have to check it. I'm just maybe it's only Princess Cruises. I don't know, but
yeah, but
they were getting up to a lot.
Yeah,
if I ever get an interview with Disney to be a cruise director, I'll let you know how that goes.
Just double
when
check.
They ask, do you have any additional questions?
Yes.
I'll just inquire. When it says other things as listed or other things as required, I'll ask if that falls under there just for you.
Yeah. Does falling in love immediately when you see someone who walks on board, or adopting children as they walk on board?
You also said you like beer, and there is one bartender on that entire ship, which just seems it's not enough.
Can you imagine one bartender on a Disney ship? Oh my God. How much running would you have to do?
That would be horrible.
That would be the worst.
I cannot imagine. Imagine the line.
What profession would you not like to attempt?
So I'm a bit of a germaphobe. So anything that deals with like water treatment, like sewage treatment plant, or anything where there's no way to get away from it. That to me, I appreciate everybody who does that because I know that we need clean water and I know that we need to do that. That is not for me.
Yeah, I get that. I actually went to an interview at a sewer plant once, and they were like, "Oh no, you get used to the smell." I was like, "Do you?"
No. We actually just stayed in a hotel beside a water treatment plant, and just like outside of it, my greatest fear, like a dude was walking with like a buoy in his hand, and my wife pointed and goes, "Why is there a life preserver hanging on the railing?" I was like, "Oh my God." I was like, I never even thought about that. Like you could trip and fall over the rail and you fall into whatever's being treated. And I was like, oh my God, that's my greatest fear.
I can't even imagine.
No. That and a porta john blowing over, like that just.
Oh, I see that all the time.
Yeah, no, but like with you in it.
Oh yeah, no. Oh,
Yes.
I do have a horrible story though. All right, so here's a horrible story. May not stay in the show.
Oh, God.
So when I was like 18, I was working for an excavation company, and we were replacing a waste pump that was in the downstairs of a doctor's office. So it's a pump that pumps the sewage, out of the bathroom from the downstairs out. So the doctor's at the end of the hallway. The pump wasn't working. He's at the end of the hallway. He's like, "Oh, no." He's like, and he was trying to be real hands-on and help. And before we could say, no, don't grab it, he grabbed it, but he grabbed it they have a float like a sump pump does.
no.
He grabs it by the switch, and a 2-inch line of sewage shoots him in the face.
Oh,
No.
And is
Can you
all
imagine?
over the wall. Oh, I can imagine because I was there.
So awesome.
We were it was like slow motion. We're at the end of the hallway trying to stop him like 10 feet away. We're like, no. And he's just like, oh. And I'm like, oh.
oh my
It
God.
was horrific. That was the most horrific
No.
thing. Oh my gosh, it was terrible. Anyway.
That would have been the last time you would have ever seen me in that place. Ever.
Oh God,
Man.
yeah. It smelled so bad in there, and I felt so bad. I mean, he got shot with a 2-inch pipe pumping out in his face.
Oh,
And I'm
God.
like, I'm like, that is
couldn't do it.
horrible.
I mean,
I appreciate people that can deal with that. I cannot.
I've had bad days at work, but I feel like
That's about the
that's
worst you're gonna
pretty-
get.
that's pretty bad. Like, how do you go home?
Yeah.
Like,
No.
right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thanks, Michael. Please keep that in.
I mean, yeah. I've been down in manholes and sewers, and that's the worst I've seen.
No. Mm.
All right.
Not
So,
for me.
Jeremy.
As we transition smoothly.
Jeremy, I get the privilege of asking you our final question, but before I do, thank you very much for being on with us tonight.
No problem. It was great. I'm glad I got to be here.
Yeah, I was actually thinking when Aaron said it was going to be you, I was like, wasn't he on like forever ago? And no, I guess we like disengaged with you so much. Just assume you've always been here.
So,
Yeah, it's exciting.
So, Jeremy, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
I would hope that he would say the good outweighed the bad and welcome home.
Nice and
That's
simple.
lovely.
I like it.
Mhm.
Is there any parting words of wisdom, any shout outs you'd like to give, anything you would like to plug?
Just as parting words of wisdom, because I always said as a runner that I would never run more than 2 miles. And then I said I would never run more than a 5K. Then I said I would never run more than a 10K. And then I said I'd never run more than a half marathon, which I haven't yet because my marathon was canceled. But I did sign up for it. So what I would say to people is, even though you say that you're not going to do it now, give it time, because the most rewarding thing was finishing those distances that were longer and greater than what I was doing probably the first year that I was running, and I was making it 2 miles and thought I was going to die. And I was like, I could never do this. But continuing on and doing that. So I would just say, keep pressing forward and go up a little bit, because it's very rewarding when you finish that first half marathon, especially, or that first 10K, and you just feel like you've accomplished something great and wonderful, even though most people don't even care or know that you did it. But like for me, I absolutely like just love that. So keep pressing on and keep having fun and enjoy running and try to get some new distances and challenge yourself.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So great.
Well, thank you very much, Jeremy, and I will bid you a fond farewell. And
Thank you, guys.
Stop it, Aaron. And we will talk later.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
Y'all have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
It's better when it's not quite so randomized, because then it's like a little bit more targeted for the person.
Well, I agree with that, but I feel like he's done the preferred race distance a million times.
Maybe it's targeted for me. Did we ever think about
Can you
that?
please not bicker in front of Jeremy?
No, we
It's
like
quite
to
all right.
bicker in
That's
front
what
of
I'm
all
here for.
people.
Every day.
When we started, because we recorded some of our regular episode before this, we literally all got on and started fighting.
I mean, that's fair enough.
Like, I'm yelling at Tom, Aaron and Michael are yelling at each other. Like,
the cat's attacking.
oh yeah, the
Michael.
cat's
The
literally
cat
attacking
attacked
Michael.
Nice.
All right.
Welcome
Awesome.
to the chaos.
Yep,
Y'all ready?
Awesome.
I'm ready.